In cricket, Pakistan rarely stay quiet for long.
Pakistan win this 2020 World Cup.
Oh, it's got him. Beautifully bowled by Wasim Akram.
They have been touched by genius.
Bowled him! Waka Yunus has got the breakthrough!
They have been champions of the world.
That's up in the air, he's getting under it. This could be victory, it is. Pakistan win the World Cup.
There has been controversy.
The fourth end-power test match between England and Pakistan has therefore been forfeited.
No ball is the call.
Lots of controversy.
How far was that? Whoa.
Why does it always seem to be Pakistan who are embroiled in these issues? Because
you tell me.
They have, well, the question has to be asked.
They have lurched from the sublime.
Oh, bowling! Magic from Yasser.
To the ridiculous.
In the air, Srishan takes it! India win!
Pakistan are the game's great enigmas. And the last decade has seen them face their greatest challenge yet.
Top story on the telly this hour, the terror attack on Sri Lanka's cricketers in Pakistan. 6 police officers, 2 civilians were killed.
It could be $200 million plus that we've actually lost as a nation.
Pakistan win! India blown away!
The sort of talent we have in this country, and I feel Pakistan will become a major cricketing force now.
This was a well-planned, well-orchestrated and well-equipped attack. The Sri Lankan cricket team was just arriving at the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore when the gunmen pounced. The police believed there were a team of 12 terrorists. The police guarding the cricket convoy were the first targets. Several of them were shot and killed straight away. Then the cricketers themselves came under fire.
March the 3rd, 2009, the third morning of the test match between Pakistan and Sri Lanka, a dozen terrorists made their way here to the Liberty Roundabout, a few hundred metres from the Gaddafi Stadium. Initially, they were hiding in that building there over my right shoulder, which was undergoing construction at the time. And a lapse of security allowed them to get within striking distance of the Sri Lankan team bus, which was coming from the team hotel. They had bags with grenades and machine guns. They were intent on carnage. And it was only the quick thinking of the bus driver, Mohammed Khalil, that prevented more loss of life.
जैसे ही हम लोग लिबर्टी वो गोल चक्कर के पास पहुंचे, दहशतगर्द जो टेररिस्ट थे उन्होंने हम पर फायरिंग की। तो लामहला ब्रेकिंग लग गई थी और गाड़ी मैंने न्यूट्रल कर दी थी। तो जब मैंने पीछे देखा कि मेरे मेहमान शोरगुल कर रहे हैं, तो ये हमारे कंट्री के लिए भी बड़ी मुश्किल थी। तो फिर वहाँ से मैंने गाड़ी को गियर में भगाया, गियर डाला और गाड़ी को भगा दिया। जितना पिक मैं दे सकता था उसको मैंने दिया और सीधा स्टेडियम ले गया। नहीं देखें जी, मैं समझता हूँ कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हम लोग पाकिस्तानी मुसलमान हैं, तो मुसलमान का जो जज्बा होता है वो अपने मेहमानों के लिए लामहला होता है। वो हमारे मेहमान लोग थे, हमें उनकी हिफाजत करने की ड्यूटी मेरी थी। मैंने अपनी ड्यूटी सर अंजाम दी है। मेरे ज़हन में ये बिल्कुल नहीं था कि मैं हीरो बन जाऊंगा, मैं ये करूंगा। मैंने जस्ट अपनी ड्यूटी जो ईमानदारी से की जाती है मैंने वो की है।
As it was, 6 policemen and 2 civilians died, and 6 of the Sri Lankan players received shrapnel wounds of various degrees of severity. The devastating consequences for Pakistan cricket quickly became clear because Test cricket wasn't to return here for over a decade. Pakistan were forced to play Test cricket in exile in the UAE. Gradually, international cricket has started to return, and this year saw the return in full of the Pakistan Super League, known as the PSL. In 2015, I met with former Pakistan captain Imran Khan, who was campaigning to become the country's Prime Minister, a quest he realised 2 years ago. Last time we were here 4 years ago, your final words to me were, "One day I'm going to win." You did. Was there ever a moment in that long journey to power where you doubted yourself?
Not once. I always thought, I would win. But having said that, I didn't think it would take me that long. It's exactly how I started when I decided to become a test cricketer at the age of 9 years. I never doubted that I would not become a test cricketer. I always thought it was a question of time. But it's exactly when I made it in cricket, when I look back, I thought, God, what a difficult journey it was.
You've taken on one of the most stressful jobs on the planet, I guess. Is this a job that keeps you awake at night? Does responsibility weigh heavily upon you?
I don't stay awake because I'm so exhausted at nights that I sleep very well. But 2019 was probably, in fact, definitely in my life, the most difficult year. Because it wasn't just one crisis I was facing, it was a series of crises which the country faced. And then it was the first time I was in government, and which meant that my team was inexperienced too. So a huge crisis, a series of crises. The biggest was the economic crisis, and then not having the right teams. So it took, 2019 was tough.
Your training as captain of the Pakistan cricket team, in any way, shape or form, has it enabled you to take the hundreds and thousands of decisions that you must have to take here on a daily basis as Prime Minister?
Well, in cricketing terms, when I got the government, now I'm trying to think it would have been 20-for-5 or 20-for-8.
Are you following on?
It was that sort of a situation. It was probably one of the most difficult situations. We're still not out of the woods. But this thing was, I'm used to sleepless nights. I was so tired by the time I would go home. There was no question of being sleepless. But a very tough year.
As well as leading his country through a hugely challenging period, Imran has found time to bring his authority to bear on cricket, pressing the new chairman and chief executive to reform the country's domestic structure. Wazim, thanks for your time. Leicestershire to Lahore, it's quite a transition for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it has been. I'd sort of spent 3 months trying to get my head around what to expect. It's probably been quite challenging in many ways, tough but massively enjoyable since I've arrived.
How much time did you have to think about taking the job in the first place? I mean, you brought your family here to Lahore, so it's a big and significant move for them as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's something growing up and that obviously with my family, all huge Pakistan supporters. So when they won the T20 World Cup in 2009 at Lords, I was there with my family in the stands. Champions Trophy, I was there with my mates at the Oval. So it was a job that I didn't have to think too much about. I kind of feel like I'm doing something that's stirring my soul, and I've enjoyed every minute of it. I've been here just over a year now, but it's been incredible.
How much of a priority was bringing international cricket back to Pakistan?
Yeah, white ball cricket had been played here since 2017, international white ball cricket. Test cricket was the big thing for us. Myself and the chairman were massively united that was a huge goal for us. So when I sat there in my press conference a year ago, I was asked what are the 2 or 3 key things, and one of them was around bringing the HBL PSL back, but also Test cricket back to Pakistan, and also restructuring domestic cricket. So that was very high on the list to try and get Test cricket back.
Top story on the telly this hour, the terror attack on Sri Lanka's cricketers in Pakistan. 7 members of the squad were injured. 6 police officers, 2 civilians were killed.
The 2009 terror attack dealt Pakistan a blow that would deprive this cricket-mad nation of the game they loved for a decade and leave them in serious financial trouble. Can we talk about the years of exile then? Can you calculate over, say, the 10-year period that Test cricket hadn't been played here, what the financial cost would be to the board?
Yeah, just to give you some examples, Ath, we played Australia in a 5 one-day international series last March in the UAE, and it cost us close to $2 million to put that on, with pretty much no return. We weren't getting the gate receipts, the sponsorships, all the other things. Not playing India has had a huge impact on us. We've calculated we may have lost in the region of about $150 million over the last 6 years by not playing them because of the broadcasting deals. I'd probably be guessing a little bit, but it could be $200 million plus that we've actually lost as a nation from not playing. But just as importantly, I think we've lost a generation potentially of cricketers.
Pakistan's paid a huge price for this. From the cricketing side, our youngsters in Pakistan had not seen the international players play here. You know, there's no better way of spreading the gospel of cricket, promoting the game, developing the game, than have youngsters to come and see cricket matches in our country.
I just feel for the fans, for the players also, because some of these guys played 70 test matches without a single test in front of home crowds, which is massive.
It was quite shocking when the Sri Lankan test series took place for our players to come to me and say thank you. They'd never played test cricket in Pakistan. Some of them are near the end of their careers, and to have spent 10 years without playing a test match in Pakistan, you know, it summed it up. So we paid a huge price.
One of those players is Azhar Ali, the current captain of the Test team. Azhar, thanks for your time. They say cricket's about timing, and the timing of your career could not have been worse in some ways, because you made your debut in 2010, just after Pakistan cricket went into exile. So you played your whole career with cricket in exile, effectively.
Yeah, it was quite disappointing. Obviously couldn't play in front of our home crowd, and didn't have any kind of proper home advantage, but like it made us tough though, like being mostly touring the other countries. We had to sacrifice family time a lot, and also like playing in different conditions all the time, and then playing in Dubai, especially the test matches, we couldn't get crowd in, so it was tough.
There it is. A big cry from Azhar Ali, his second Test 100, his first against England. An outstanding knock from a very fine young player.
How difficult was it as a player playing in what was essentially a graveyard, absolutely nobody watching from time to time?
Well, it was tough because I made a 100, which was, you know, it was a great achievement, but I think it was few hundred was watching that game, and it was amazing, but the excitement of the crowd was missing. I just wish that if I'd done my 100 in my home country, it would have been like a thing to remember forever. It's like still a big achievement, but I missed the crowd, which wasn't there.
Pass point, and that is his 100. First as captain, and first as home, obviously.
How much of a thrill was it to finally play a test match in Pakistan? It was your 75th test, I think, before you finally got to play one on home soil in Karachi.
A few years back, I was just thinking, especially Asad and myself, we almost started our careers together, and we played a lot of cricket together, and we chat a lot about this. And we're going to play a test match in Pakistan? And we doubted it actually, but thanks to PCB, thanks to the Pakistan government and all the teams who did come to Pakistan, thanks to them especially to give us that happiness. It was just like something was missing.
Incredibly, despite all the challenges, the passion for the game has not diminished, and cricket is well placed to bounce back.
Thankfully, the PCB's kept his head above water during that time, and we're not in a position where we're relying on ICC handouts completely. There is a level of self-sustainability, and it might be because we're the only sport in this country. Hockey's kind of died a death, squash has died a death, and we're the only sport really surviving, and therefore we still do get a level of support from both from government and sponsors. We seem to still be in quite a healthy state, but you know, where would we have been if cricket had been here? God knows.
In a previous life in England, you're involved with Chance to Shine, which is about trying to put cricket into state schools. Do you get the sense here that cricket has a much firmer grounding in terms of the game being embedded in the culture and society?
Yeah, definitely. Unlike in England, I guess, where you're constantly trying to sell the game to youngsters to make it a habit for them as they grow up, we're pushing at an open door in many ways here, both with sponsors and trying to get kids to play. You know, just to give you an example, our franchise owners, they will hold a talent hunt day, and probably 3,000 to 5,000 youngsters from the age of 16 to 21 will turn up, you know, hoping to be sort of found and then get an opportunity to get involved. And that's the sort of thing that happens, and our franchise owners do a huge amount of work around the country with that.
That passion for cricket is not hard to find. Although the ball used is somewhat unorthodox and makeshift. So, tape ball match, tennis ball wrapped in tape.
Yes.
So these are formal games or casual games?
Casual games, always casual games. Yeah. Usually it's a 4-hour game and
4-hour game?
4 over game.
4 over game,
Yeah,
okay.
we play like 3 or 4 games.
And these tape balls, they spin?
They spin and swing as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
PSL is on at the moment.
Yeah. Yes.
Tell us about PSL in Lahore. You've been to the games?
Yes, we both have been in one game, the one between Lahore and Peshawar.
Right.
And Lahore won, and we were supporting Lahore.
And
I was supporting
cost of tickets?
Peshawar.
Oh, you're supporting
Peshawar.
Peshawar?
I like Darren Sammy, like another boys.
Okay.
They all plays very good cricket.
Cost of tickets?
500 each.
500 rupees, which equates to about $4 US dollars.
Yeah,
that's affordable for you guys?
Yeah, affordable. Very much affordable for us.
So, favourite Pakistan player?
Babar Azam.
Babar Azam.
Yeah.
Serious player.
Classical player.
Classical
drives
player.
very well. Yeah.
Favourite overseas player?
Alex Hales. Yeah.
Alex Hales.
Karachi Kings.
Why do you
Karachi
like
Kings.
him?
Great strength. He's a good guy.
Favourite commentator?
Ramesh Raja.
Ramesh Raja.
From
Favourite
Pakistan.
overseas commentator?
Michael Slater.
Michael
Slater and Danny Morrison.
Danny Morrison. Crazy man.
He was waiting for your name.
Well, I thought you might, you know. Have you been surprised at all by the resilience shown for the love of the game here, given that international cricket wasn't played here for the best part of 9 years?
Well, you know, in the whole subcontinent, Indian subcontinent, people love cricket. I mean, probably even more than in England, you know, which was where cricket originated. The problem in Pakistan has been very poor form of domestic cricket. Some 50 years ago, a decision was taken to bring these organizations like companies, airlines, banks into cricket. And the idea then was that players needed to have earn a living. So if these departments have their team, they will also be employed by the departments. It was the biggest mistake. We had some 25 teams. So the worst aspect of English cricket, county cricket, was always that the talent was spread too thin. If you spread the talent into too many teams, the standard goes down. And, you know, to prepare test cricketers, you need quality competition. In India, since 2010, when they started this, the Indian 20-over league and squeezed the talent into a few teams and brought in overseas cricketers, the Indian cricket standard has gone up. I have been campaigning for 40 years that Pakistan should have regional cricket, squeeze the talent.
Which has happened. How much influence did you have over that?
Well, I've been, you know, like a broken record. I went on for 40 years telling them that this is not what you have at these airlines and banks. Who's interested in if an airline plays each other? When regions play each other, there's affiliation, and so there's the crowds put pressure on the teams. We had the equivalent of some of the English county matches where there were about 10 people and their dogs watching, and empty grounds. I always found that very uninspiring.
Is it an advantage or a disadvantage to have the Prime Minister of the country who was a former cricket captain?
Yeah, it's an interesting one because he takes a huge interest. Just to give you an example, we reduced that number of club first-class teams from 16 to 6. So he'd always had this vision of the Australian model of going down to 6 teams to improve the quality. So my first meeting with him, my first week, you know, he said to me, give me your views and what you think we should do. And I said, well, explain that with 220 million people that our population was a lot bigger than Australia, and we certainly didn't want to close off that talent pool opportunity. And maybe we should look at 8 or 10 teams. And so after about 10 minutes of me fighting my case of what we should do, he turned around and said, I think we'll go with 6.
So you ended up with 6?
We ended up with 6, yeah. So I learned very quickly that actually he's very clear in terms of his thinking. But it's great to have his support because the security that we've had to put in place for countries coming, and particularly with HBL PSL, is we've needed state sign-off for that. Actually, we're very lucky with that in the fact that once this state-level security is signed off by the PM, that the costs are then picked up by the local governments. So we probably put in around about 10% of the cost, the overall cost. But he's been unwavering in his support because this is his vision as much as anybody else's to get international cricket back here.
I feel Pakistan will become a major cricketing force now. It always had talent, but it never had the proper domestic cricket to polish that talent. So all of us learned cricket in England.
Now I think some of the younger generation are seeing them for the first time, so they'll have new audiences, new fans, and they'll become superstars and poster boys.
Now once they strike this balance of 6 teams, regional teams, I think Pakistan, the sort of talent we have in this country, you will find Pakistan will become a very strong team.